here we are on the road again in Iowa, and I was poking around on Craigslist and I saw a 302 powered 84 Mazda RX-7 with a C4 and a manual valve body ratchet shifter setup. So they're asking $1,500 for it, so I just sold my motorcycle and I figure, oh, what the heck, we'll go take a look at that. So I got my buddies with me today and we're gonna go take a look at this thing. Well, we've arrived, and anyway, I've looked it over and I went ahead and purchased it. They were asking $1,500 for it, and I ended up paying $1,000. So it's got a Ford 302 and a C4 with a shift kit and a posi traction rear end in it. So should be a good little autocross rig, or get it running and flip it. But the body's in pretty decent shape, so should be a good little car. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this son of a gun loaded up on this trailer and get out of here. All right, got her all loaded up on the van. Looks pretty good for $1,000. I can't complain. So we'll go ahead and see if we can make the drive back home with our $1,500 Chevrolet. All right, so here we are. We made it back home. The $1,500 van, trailered it just fine. So I didn't fiddle with the engine too much, because if I would have got it lit off in the guy's presence, I probably couldn't have got it for as good of a deal. Maybe so, maybe not. He was a real darn friendly guy. I really appreciate the price he gave me. But now I'm gonna go more in depth in it, see if I can make it run. So with all engines, the only things you need is fuel, spark, and compression, and it should light off. So we're gonna go through and test these systems and see if we can't get it running. But anyway, pretty slick little ride, and hopefully it turns out all right. All right, here we are in the car. We got the van charging up the battery to the Mazda here, and pretty interesting inside, pretty ratty. But anyway, I was looking under the hood. I took a good look this time around, and it's got a 350 Chevrolet firing order that it had plugged into it. So I took that off, and the first one I'm going to try is the old school firing order, where 7, 8, and 8 fire right beside each other. And if that doesn't work out, we'll try the 351 Windsor firing order. And I know that the guy told me it had a radical cam, so it could be either firing order. The Windsor firing order is a better firing order, so a lot of aftermarket cams run the Windsor firing order. But anyway, I figured we'd try with the old school firing order. Now, my biggest thing I'm fighting right now is the battery being dead. So I got my meter hooked up here to my line running to my ignition of my distributor, and I only get a few good seconds of cranking before this drops below 12, and it's probably not putting out any spark. So, you know, it just kind of turns the engine over and doesn't really do anything. So anyway, gonna go ahead and give her a test and see what happens, and we can watch this voltage bleed down here. All right, at that point, when it gets down to 7 or 8, you know, that's not enough voltage for the spark to be firing. So anyway, we're gonna let this charge a bit and get back, and we got a little more juice. All right, I turned it over again. I saw a little backfire out the carburetor. And in this case, with the engine off, that means that the ignition timing was wrong and a spark plug was firing with the intake valve open. So now we're running on the 351 Windsor firing order, and let's see if she'll dance this time. Trying. All right, so day 2 here with the little Mazda. I went ahead and harvested the old battery out of the 79 van that I pulled the 351 Windsor out of. That van is just the gift that keeps on giving. I've used so many parts off of it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and test the spark here. We got the engine on the correct firing order now, as every once in a while it'll hit. But there's a few things of concern. Obviously, spark plug wires are pretty janky, and some of these wires leading up to the HEI distributor are pretty janky as well, you know, splice upon splice upon splice. So anyway, we're going to see how much spark we're getting to start off with, and since I don't have anyone here to hold the camera, you can see here that I have the spark plug ran up to the windshield and grounded through the windshield wiper. Kind of interesting. So anyway, we'll crank it over and see how strong with spark we're getting out of this thing. Alright, so here we are. Let's see if we can get a real close-up view of this spark plug. So, I don't know if you could see it there, but that was some pretty weak spark. So, I got some new spark plug wires we're going to put on here. Then we'll test that, and then if that doesn't work, we'll reroute our ignition wire and put the proper gauge wire on and hopefully get somewhere. Alright, so I got the new plug wires on and that old junk off. I haven't fabbed up any looms yet, but we'll go ahead and see how she does now. Alright, here we go. Got a little fresh fuel in the carburetor for now. Give it a good 3 pumps. Ooh, had some flames out of the carburetor there. We're getting closer. Alright, we're playing around with the timing here, and we've gotten a little bit closer. We still have weak ignition, but anyway, I'll give it another crank here. A few pumps. So, we're getting somewhere. Backfiring out the carburetor. So, this thing sat for, 8-9 months. So, I think the next step is to possibly address the carburation, the ignition timing. Keep working with that, but we're getting closer. And once we're lit off, we can fine-tune everything. Alright, so I'm slowly advancing the ignition timing. And we're just going to keep going at this till we find the sweet spot. Woo! Holy crap, it runs. Wow, getting somewhere.